All right.
Thanks.
Commander Daxton Moore, CO Cooperstown, DAXTON MOORE. Welcome aboard Cooperstown. I'm originally from Lou Gehrig, Virginia, and I have with me my executive officer and my command master chief, and they'll introduce themselves.
Hey, good afternoon, Commander Patrick Earls, P-A-T-R-I-C-K, Earls spelled E-A-R-L-S. I'm the ship's executive officer, originally from Erie, Pennsylvania. Welcome aboard.
Hey, good morning. Command Master Chief Johnson, Kiana Johnson, K-E-O-N-A, J-O-H-N-S-O-N, and I'm the Command Master Chief here on board.
Okay, would you like to start the tour?
Absolutely.
Have any questions before we begin?
Let's do a couple questions first.
Okay.
We'll start out. What do we do? One question each? With a follow-up.
You want to read that?
Mine is very simple. What do you think about the ship's name?
Oh, USS Cooperstown, it's a wonderful name. Baseball Hall of Fame and the town itself, but more specifically, we're named after the 70 Hall of Fame members that are also veterans. Veterans like Ted Williams, Bob Feller, Yogi Berra. So that is really the ship's namesake, but it's outstanding. It's a great name for the ship.
What kind of difference does that make for sailors and yourself?
A ship kind of sort of takes on its own identity, so we have taken that identity. As you walk around the ship, you'll notice that each stateroom door has a veteran and Hall of Fame member up on the door, so each stateroom kind of sort of takes its own identity, which really helps bring out the feeling, the baseball feel, and the Hall of Fame feel on board the ship.
Sir, how is it to bring your ship into New York City for commissioning? And I know that some of the crew went out to Yankee Stadium last night.
It's a great time. It's been a phenomenal welcome. New York City is definitely a Navy town. That's clearly obvious, and it's been a great time since we've been here. The entire crew has enjoyed it.
What was some of the effort to get the ship ready for commissioning?
A lot of planning went into it, a lot of painting, preservation. We wanted the ship to look good. She has actually been in existence for about 2 years now, so we actually had to work up to commissioning.
Thank you.
In here we can bring possibly 2 MH-60 Romeo or Sierra helicopters, which are fully manned, or we can bring 1 plus a couple of unmanned aerial vehicles. Any questions out here?
Is this bigger than like the hangar on an Arleigh Burke?
The hangar is a little bit bigger, and the flight deck is about 33% bigger. So we can actually land larger helicopters than Arleigh Burke can.
Thank you.
And first thing you'll notice is there's no ship's wheel. It's not like a traditional ship. We are more like an airplane. We have throttles, seats. We can actually steer via one or use both of them independently. So we have water jets, not propellers and rudders. So think of it as a giant jet ski. We have 2 steerable water jets and 2 boost jets in the center. And each one of them put out enough water where you can fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool in about 6 seconds. So it's a lot of water that we push out. We have a huge wake as we go through the water.
And Commander, this is a very fast ship.
Yes.
How fast does it go?
40 plus knots. Everybody always asks that.
All right, and 40 plus knots, what, 47, 48 miles an hour?
Right. About 50 miles. Just call it 50 miles an hour.
But that's fast for a warship.
It's very fast on the water. Yes. Any other questions?
What's the advantage of that kind of a stream propulsion versus having a normal propeller?
We are highly maneuverable. Along with that, we also only draft 15 feet, so we can go into shallow water. But we can walk the ship sideways, left or right, port to starboard. We can twist by the bow or the center of the ship. We stop on a dime, so if we're going flank speed through the water, we can throw the throttles back and stop within about 4 ship lengths.
What does it mean to twist?
To twist?
Yeah, that's a new one for me.
So we can actually, so if we turn the buckets outboard and put the throttles in opposite directions, the entire ship will twist at the bow. And then if we turn them inboard and put them in opposite directions, the entire ship will twist from the center point of the ship, essentially.
Okay.
I believe this ship will be based in Florida.
Yes.
But do you think there's any possibility you will be forward deployed to Japan?
No time during my tour. I'm not exactly sure what will happen after the ship is commissioned and actually enters service. XO will take over as commanding officer sometime early next year, but odds are right now this hall typically deploys to 4th Fleet, South America, that type of area.
Sir, what kind of missions do you expect to be on, and being able to use that maneuverability you described?
The ability of being littoral, shallow depth, we can go in close, we can drop off Navy SEALs, we can do law enforcement, counter drug ops, that type of thing. We're, of course, deterrence is always an objective, but we are multi-mission capable.
Thank you.
Okay.
can't access with deeper draft ships. So a lot of countries that typically don't get a naval presence, they get an LCS, which is a big value.
And it's not just shallow, we're also a little bit shorter, so our air draft is lower, so we can go underneath lower bridges. Perfect example is possibility of pulling the Philadelphia for Fleet Week. A lot of other ships can't get in there. Any other questions?
Okay.
All right, so here we are up on the forecastle. I have next to me our main battery, 57mm gun, and I have one of my petty officers that will introduce himself and talk about it.
I'm FC1 Matthew Jarman, MAT, HEWJAR, MAN. Been on board since 2020. Happy to be here, happy to finally commission the ship. I'll tell you a little bit about what we have here. We have our main battery, the Mark 110. It's a 57mm primary air defense weapon. Shoots a 57mm projectile. We have on top of the gun, it's got a ballistic computation radar, which helps us get weapons on target. Behind us, what you can see on top of the bridge up here, we have our antenna that we talk to our unmanned helicopter. We also have our communications radars, and up at the very top, the little disc you see up there is our TACAN. That's how we communicate with helicopters, how we control them. And then just below that, we have the SBS-80. That is our primary air search radar. That's what we use for fire control and everything else.
Great. Any questions up here?
So, sir, the armament right behind you, so that's for aerial versus because it's also used for anti-ship.
All the above, yes. Surface and air.
And how important now? Obviously, we hear about drones being an important part. Is that a big part of your mission, supporting or being able to defend against drones?
Yes. Yes, we are capable of defending against drones or unmanned vehicles. It's becoming more and more of a prevalent as we advance.
And sir, your ship is named for extraordinary veterans, 70 members of the Baseball Hall of Fame, from Yogi Berra to Ted Williams, Bob Feller we saw at Black Tube. How do the sailors learn about the history of those veterans, some who were in the World War II era?
So it's spoken about often on board the ship, not just by us, but Baseball Hall of Fame comes down, often talks about it. We receive their magazine monthly. They donate them to us every month. On each door, you can read the veterans' history. We have every Navy veteran on doors throughout the ship. And we actually got to go to Baseball Hall of Fame. Just about the entire crew has been up there. We still have a couple more to send up, but the goal is that everyone will get up there and get the full tour of the veterans, and not just veterans, but also the Hall of Famers.
Within the fleet, is the name Cooperstown representing those veterans special? Is it something that really stands out in the fleet?
It is something that stands out. We've already gotten a lot of comments on it. I think I've given more tours than probably any other ship CO here lately. As soon as the people realized what our name was, everybody wanted to come down. We've had baseball players come down, other athletes, college baseball players that just want to tour because of the namesake.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Yep.